Hello again, welcome to another walk and talk video out in the countryside. Now tell me, is it just me getting a bit older and a sort of grumpy old man, or are driving standards and sort of etiquette getting a lot worse in this country? I think it is. I mean, I actually do a little side job delivering stuff, and during the day, I mean, I just get exasperated by the little things that people don't do because they're lazy, but things that would take a split second. I'll tell you more in a sec. My biggest bugbear is drivers not indicating. When did this become a big thing that, I don't know, you'd be turning right or left or going around a roundabout and you just wouldn't indicate to go off? The thing that people seem to do is, let's say there's two lanes coming up to a junction, and one on the road says it's right turn only, so they go into that lane, but they don't indicate. And they probably think, oh, well, you know, it says right lane only, so I don't need to indicate. But the clue is in the word. You're indicating to other people where you are going. If you're coming from the other side, then you don't know what that lane's for. You don't know where they're going. So let's say you're turning right from opposite that car. The car's right in front of you, opposite, just sat there, not indicating. You don't know whether it's going straight on, so you need to wait, or whether it's going to turn right, and so you're good to go yourself. But they don't think about this. It's just, oh, I'm in the right-hand lane, therefore everyone knows that I'm indicating right. What if you're not from that area? You don't know where each lane goes. These lanes change all the time anyway. I mean, it takes literally a split second. But no, people can't be arsed, can they? Oh, it's too much like hard work while they're probably scrolling through the phones with their other hand while driving. I do sometimes wonder whether it can be attributed to the coincidence of a lot of people coming into this country from other countries where the etiquette and the rules are, should we say, a bit more brutal. And I say that as somebody who's travelled a lot in a lot of, should we say, traditionally less developed countries. You know, it's kind of rule of the jungle on the road. It's in, out, in, out. You don't think about lanes. If you're on the inside lane, you can undertake that driver, you know, do what you want, whatever it takes to get somewhere quicker. And, you know, the rules of indicating don't seem to be as prevalent. So I say that as somebody who's travelled a lot around the world. It's just an observation, and you wonder, that sort of comes over and comes into this culture, and then it becomes normal, and then suddenly the people who in the UK, for example, will just sort of think, oh, well, he's not indicating, so it's just quite normal, I won't do it either, it's a pain in the backside. And it becomes sort of endemic to an area, and then the people who are trying to do stuff are fine. Hey, let me get this straight though. I'm sort of libertarian sort of person, and I hate petty rules and regulations, so I'm not a kind of, oh, it's the rules so people should do it. I'm saying it literally is a pain in the arse for other drivers when you're not indicating, showing where you're going, because in the end, you know, driving, if it's done crap, is one of the most dangerous things out there. You know, it's literally something that can kill you any second, even if you're doing the right thing yourself. And so, yeah, like I said, I don't like petty stuff and all that, but little things just like indicating, so you're making it flow. And as somebody who delivers stuff, you know, it's that little difference between being able to anticipate that you can drive off and just go smoothly, or you sit waiting there 3 seconds thinking a car's coming round, then it just indicates to the left. Not indicates, it literally goes to the left, say at a roundabout, and you're thinking, just bloody indicate so things go more smoothly. And like most things, you know, if it happens once, you sort of, okay, it just happened. But when you're out on the road a lot, you notice it a lot, and it's one after another, after another, after another. And considering how busy the roads are these days, that's another issue. Yeah, it becomes a real irritation. Then of course that ends up making sort of normally affable people like me frustrated, get a bit of the road rage, and suddenly I become a liability potentially to other drivers as well, just from my own frustration. So yeah, I was mentioning the sheer amount of traffic these days. I mean, I'm not in a sort of London area or a big city. When I do go through those places, it just feels like absolute hell. But even in my sort of, you know, mid-sized conurbation area, even in my mid-sized conurbation area during the day, it just becomes a pain. And to me, a lot of it is attributed to people being lazy and making it an irritation, just doing the basics. Nice view, eh? And of course the other thing is people scrolling through the phones and that kind of thing, sometimes while driving, sometimes at junctions and stuff like that. But you know, sometimes you can see them while they're driving and they're literally not indicating because they're looking at the phone or something like that. So it's like people become lazy, but it's not like they're actually doing nothing. They're actually doing something with their hand. They're scrolling through, they're just distracted. Again, for somebody like me, when I'm delivering stuff, I have to be looking at the phone and sometimes pressing something to accept an order while I'm driving, etc. But you know, that's slightly different to just constantly be looking to text people once you've stopped at a junction and stuff like that. Again, it's another thing that, you know, perhaps other countries are more naturally inclined to do, and it's come over here and again just become accepted as the norm. And here's another thing, considering that Audis and BMWs are so relatively expensive, isn't it weird how their indicators never work, if you know what I mean? I wouldn't mind, driving should be a lot easier for people these days. I mean, a lot of people have their sat-nav systems and stuff like this that tell them where they need to go. And you think about it, not so long ago, if you were looking for a place, you would literally be having to look all the time for the right street name, the right sort of place denoting where you're going. And if you actually take the time to look at how much signage there is on the average English street, you realise actually how stressful that is compared to just having a sat-nav telling you where you need to go, even if they are sometimes wrong, especially on new build estates. They're an absolute nightmare. But yeah, so yeah, things should be easier, but it's almost like the easier things become, the lazier we become, and the more irritating we become or irritable to people like me. But yeah, indicating's the big thing. They sort of have this mentality of, I know where I'm going, therefore everyone else automatically, telepathically will know where I'm going, and if they don't, it's their fault. I know I'm indicating right, so therefore everyone else should know I'm going right without me actually indicating. But I suppose it doesn't help that generally the roads are just becoming more busy. What a surprise when you bring so many people into the country, that the roads will get a lot busier, but you know, that seems to bypass the policy makers. It's just growth at all costs, you know, sod what the actual lifestyle and life experience and quality of life is for people. You know, they don't care, it's just growth at all costs, get as many people in as possible, sell as many cars as possible, and you know, then everyone will be stressed while they're driving, taking an hour and a half, 2 hours to get home, or just half an hour to get 2 miles to the, I don't know, school or something like that. Then everyone's irritated and constantly on edge and stressed and can't be bothered to fight anything or stand up for anything. Yeah, it's probably all part of the plan, isn't it? Keep us sort of in that slave consumer mentality, and then of course we get home and we're stressed, and what do? Oh, people just want to veg out and watch stuff and scroll on their phones for no particular reason, wondering why they're so stressed. But of course it's all these little things that add up during the day that you don't notice, but cumulatively they certainly do add up. So maybe that's a lot to do with why people make shortcuts, but I actually think a lot of it is just laziness and ignorance to other drivers and people around and stuff like that. It's like, I'm all right, Jack. And of course, it often seems to correlate with the bigger, more expensive, higher purchase car they've got, the more of an arse that they seem to act. Or maybe that's just inaccurate, who knows. So yeah, let me know. Do you agree? Is driving in the UK getting a lot worse? And if so, do you have any other reasons that you can attribute to it? Are my reasons a bit wrong, or do you think they've got had an influence as well? Anyway, that's it for today. If you like this kind of talking and ranting, make sure that you are subscribed. I'll see you soon.